Hello, Miss Oklahoma. How are you?
I'm doing so great. Thank you.
All righty. Arizona's new immigration statute authorizes law enforcement authorities to check the citizenship of anyone they believe may be in the country illegally. Now, listen to the question before you boo. Critics say this may amount to racial profiling. Do you think that this should be mandated by the state or by the federal government?
I'm a huge believer in states' rights. I think that's what's so wonderful about America. So I think it's perfectly fine for Arizona to create that law. And I am against illegal immigration, but I'm also against racial profiling. So I see both sides in this issue.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Now, I don't normally watch beauty pageants because I don't watch a lot of television, but when I am watching the news and I see highlights of it, I'm obviously red-blooded, so my eyes are trained like a wolf looking at but the issue here is that I happened to be up here while this was live, turned on the television, and saw all the ladies come out. And I remember looking at Morgan Elizabeth Woolard, Miss Oklahoma, and thinking, well, she certainly stands out. Because it's more than just looks. She's obviously beautiful. I could tell she was intelligent. She had that spark about her. And it's great to see her so informed about the Bill of Rights and Constitution and 9th and 10th Amendment versus Miss Teen South Carolina, who literally didn't even know what planet she was on. We'll play that clip coming up later. But I didn't know I was watching controversy when I happened to, watch 30 minutes of it that evening because I didn't continue to watch to see the final judging. And then I discovered, and the news reported she may have lost because she didn't answer that politically correct. You heard the judge, ask about the Arizona law, and he said, well, wait, don't boo yet. And then she got this big standing ovation that I would say was 5, 6, 7 times louder than the boos. And we'll play it again coming up just to have it on record. That the people responded to states' rights. I mean, the government's too big; it's out of control. Mexico's collapsing, but, she went on to say, like Ron Paul, Congressman, said here yesterday, he is against racial profiling if it's misused. But that wasn't good enough. But to really pick her brain, because there's nothing like beauty and brains altogether, is Morgan Elizabeth Woolard, the runner-up, second place in Miss USA. Great to have you here with us. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Again, Miss Oklahoma on the line with us. Let's go back to the pageant a week and a half ago. What happened there? Anything that happened behind the scenes? Break it down for us.
The behind the scenes? Well, what do you mean? We're there 2.5 weeks before the actual telecast, and so there are a lot of behind the scenes to this.
Exactly, that's what I meant. I mean, because all we see is the limited cuts. I mean, did somebody say something to you after you answered that way, or did you ever get word like, "Ooh, that was a screw up. You should have called for world government, or you should have called for us turning our guns in"?
Well, I mean, they don't speak to you at all afterward about how you answered your question, but I think afterward, of course, the media definitely brought that to my attention, and we're wondering simply from the scoring, I was actually ahead the entire competition until then. And, of course, having judges in the entertainment industry, which is predominantly liberal, they do question whether it hurt my chances or not.
Yeah, that's a key statistics that Fox News did cover, and Miss Oklahoma named first runner-up in Miss USA pageant after answering immigration question. You were way ahead until that point. I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I talked to you earlier, you don't want to be somebody who's a sore loser, but if you were ahead and then suddenly you got behind, that is suspicious.
Yeah, I guess so. I think with me, I just kind of have to have a positive perspective. And, when you work so hard for something, the last thing you want to think of is the way you answered your question, is what did you in. And so I just choose not to flagellate my mind with anything condemning like that and, not be a sore loser or victimize myself, but rise above it and be happy for Rima and just move on to the next chapter of my life.
Well, she is obviously intelligent and lovely as well, but I think you are the clear winner. And again, the entire time, well, thank you, you were ahead until you didn't answer the thing politically correct. And, you know, the issue is, tell us about the rules, because I'm not an expert on this. In fact, I'm ignorant on this subject. I mean, is it political? Do the judges tell you, if I don't agree with your politics, I'm going to vote against you? Because, you know, we need to know if it is rigged. I mean, I understand you don't want to go there, but this is quite an issue.
Well, I don't think the USC system is quite as transparent with their judging criteria and how the whole process goes. But I believe once you get to the top 5, or I think even through 15, 10 to 5, they erase the scores entirely and it starts all over again. And so once you do make top 5 and answer a question, you have a final look, and I believe they rank you after that. And so, you know, it could be they liked your personality better. I don't know. I just, you know, all I can say is I did my best, and I'm proud of my answer. I have no regrets. People ask me all the time if I would have worded it differently. No, I do believe in states' rights, and I think I took a stance, but I did it diplomatically.
Well, you certainly did. Very diplomatic. If you could be an ambassador for the U.S. in the future. I mean, you answered it perfectly.
Well, that was my hopes of becoming Miss USA, to be an ambassador for my country. But that just was not in the cards for me, and I was blessed to even compete for such a prestigious title. So first runner-up is quite the honor.
Well, you know, I'm really proud of you, and so are my listeners. We got a lot of fan mail for you here at the office. You know, people just calling in and emails just when we played the clip saying, wow, this is wonderful, especially in Oklahoma, your home state, where you are Miss Oklahoma, because people appreciated you not going with the politically correct answer, because that's what really is valuable, is telling the truth, standing up for what you believe in. And so, you know, that made you the winner overall when it came to defending this republic.
Thank you very much.
Give us your take on states' rights and the Arizona issue, because you only had a few seconds to talk about it then. Now you've got more time.
Right. That's what makes it even more difficult, I think. You know, this is such a hot-button issue that is on our TVs, you know, 20 hours of the day, and I have 20 seconds to sum it up. That is not the easiest thing in the world. And I think I'd also like to clarify, which I don't think a lot of people realize, is they didn't ask me whether I was for or against the law. They asked me whether I felt it should be, you know, state or federal. And I firmly believe in states' rights. I think a state should be allowed to mandate rules and regulations as they see fit. I love that we can put power in the hands of the people, and I fully support that.
Well, on top of it, Napolitano, the head of Homeland Security last week in congressional testimony being questioned by John McCain, said, I haven't read the Arizona bill.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, you saw that?
I did, yes.
I mean, how can then she condemn it if she hasn't read it? Because I have read it. I've read it here on air. It is identical to the federal law.
He hasn't read it as well, I believe.
Who did you say hasn't read it?
Attorney General Eric Holder.
Yes, you're right. He admits it. So, what's your take on them commenting on something they haven't read?
Well, I certainly think that's an issue. I think, you know, before you believe in something, firmly against something, you should know what all that bill entails and what is within it. So I think that is certainly an issue.
Wow. Well, listen, while you're here on air, we've got you till about 45 after. We're appreciative of the time. Anything else you want to set the record straight on? We're talking to Miss Oklahoma. She got second place, runner-up in Miss USA. She was ahead the entire time until she didn't sell America out on national television. But again, she's being a good sport. And, you know, I guess she made the field goal, but they're taking it back. And so I guess I'm going to say it's rigged, but she's a big sport, and we appreciate that. But anything else you want to set the record straight about?
Well, you know, if I think there was one thing that I could set the record straight with, it would just be that I'm one who does not want to victimize myself. I think a lot of promos in the media are saying, Miss Oklahoma lost her crown because of what she said. And, you know, truthfully, yes, it was a volatile question, and it was doomed for a polarizing answer, but I really don't want to victimize myself. Miss USA wasn't a do-or-die situation for me. It would have been an incredible honor to represent the USA system and Donald Trump and my country. But, you know, that didn't work out for me. And being scholastically and professionally active, I know that I have great things coming in life regardless. And so I just want people to know I'm not bitter, I am not a victim, and that I'm going to do good things with my life regardless of the crown.
Well, I honor that, and I know my listeners do, so you're being a great sport about it. But I want to be clear. I think people who do think that that question was wrong and do think that you were penalized, I think in future the fans of Miss USA should put their input in about the transparency of the judging rules so that the young ladies know what they're going into.